In a world where people are losing their minds, who will be the voice of sanity, of logic, of rationale, of morality and truth? This podcast is looking for like-minded people to stand up to the insane and be real. The Recovery Atheist podcast is calling you to step forward and be counted. Welcome to the voice of change. Welcome to the Recovery Atheist podcast.
Being disappointed can hurt so much that if it happens too many times, many of us stop having hopes and dreams altogether so that we can avoid the pain of disappointment. Yes, this strategy works in the short term, but it can fail in the long term because without hopes and dreams becoming fulfilled, we often settle for a disappointing life. I don't think the answer is to stop having expectations and to give up all hopes and dreams that you have, but rather to develop a healthy attitude about coping with disappointment so it doesn't destroy you. Today, I'll give you 5 ideas how to help you do just that. One thing is to rely on wisdom instead of luck. One reason I say disappointment happens to all of us is because doing the right thing sometimes leads to wrong results, and vice versa. For example, let's say you want to live a long and healthy life. So you decide to perform all the activities that are considered healthy, such as eating the right foods, consistently exercising, and avoiding drugs and excessive alcohol. But even after doing all these healthy things, you could still get some debilitating illness or get into a traumatic accident that cuts your life short. While on the other hand, you could have someone who eats all the wrong foods, never exercises, abuses their body with alcohol and drugs, and their poor choices don't seem to hinder them at all, and they live a long life. Now, just because the person who made all the wrong choices lived longer, doesn't mean their choices weren't foolish. Because if these unhealthy choices were played out in millions of lives, the outcomes would be more disastrous for a majority of them. Life is filled with uncertainty, and life isn't always fair. Sometimes wise choices lead to unlucky outcomes, and sometimes poor choices lead to lucky outcomes. But if you're banking on luck throughout your life, you're banking on a life of disappointment. Choose to operate from wisdom instead. The next thing is to avoid the land of I learned this concept from Pastor Andy Stanley. We often think that an is holding us back from being more content. If only we were rich-er, slim-er, smart-er, and the list goes on, that life would be better. But this pursuit is a trap, because the pursuit of more is an appetite that can never be satisfied. Wanting to make $50,000 a year eventually becomes $100,000, and getting 10 likes on your Instagram selfie then becomes 100. It's tempting to think that you're different, that you know other people have this problem, but you don't, and that you will be content after you get a little more of whatever you lack. But be humble enough to accept you're not different. Simply put, we're not disappointed right now because we don't have more of what we lack. We're disappointed because we're not content with what we have. Is not our answer, but finding a way to be grateful and content right now is. The next thing is to own your part. It's hard for us to accept the role we play in our disappointments. It's much easier to blame the negative outcome on something outside ourselves and feel like a victim. For example, I've made hundreds of videos on this YouTube channel, and I've been disappointed that I haven't gotten more views and subscribers. Now, I could say that I'm just unlucky and unfortunate and blame the YouTube algorithm, but saying this just makes me come across like a whiny baby and won't change anything. I'm better off realizing that I'm at least partially responsible for the lack of results I'm having. If I don't like the results I'm getting, I need to be doing something different, whether that's putting more effort into my videos, making them longer, publishing more often, changing the style of my videos, etc. The same is true for you and your life. Whether it's your dreams that aren't exactly working out, or past relationships that haven't worked out, the cause of the negative outcome may have little to do with you. It may be mostly due to the other person, or something that happened that was completely out of your control. However, there's a chance that you did play a part, even if it's a teeny tiny part. Be willing to own that part that you played in it and learn from it. And if you're able to, make necessary changes so that you get more positive outcomes in the future. Number 4 is to diversify. Life could be very stressful if you have all your money in one stock. All it takes is for that company to make one mistake and go bankrupt, and you lose everything. Financial advisors often advise not to put all your eggs in one basket and to diversify your money. The strategy works emotionally in your life as well and can diminish the effects of disappointment. For example, if someone has all their emotional stock in getting the promotion they applied for, if they don't get it, it will be more crushing for them than the person who wants to get that same promotion and advance in their professional life, but also gets a lot of fulfillment from their romantic life, is invested in their family life, as well as having a solid group of friends who they spend time on a consistent basis, as well as having a number of hobbies that they enjoy. I've learned over the years that when you have many areas of your life that add meaning and fulfillment to it, when one of them is taken away or doesn't work out, it can be less disappointing because you haven't lost everything. And lastly, your relationships are your safety net. I'm learning throughout my life that disappointment will occur from time to time in your life, and you will experience many emotional falls. However, when you have people in your life who are there for you whether you succeed or fail, they act like a safety net and are able to catch you when you're falling. And when you know you have people in your life who are there to catch you if you fall, you become less fearful about falling. And with less fear, you live more boldly and pursue bolder dreams. So invest more in your relationships if you've been afraid of going for things that could make you disappointed. Keep these 5 ideas in mind as they can help you deal with disappointment in life. This is your friend Michael, helping you transform your thinking for the better. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Well, hello everybody out there in Podcast Nation. Thank you for joining the Recovery Atheist podcast this evening. How's everyone out there doing? I'm hoping that everyone is enjoying their stimulus checks and everything else that's going on in that situation. Maybe you got your tax refunds back, all of that. I just hope it's going well. I haven't gotten mine yet, which is upsetting because I need it. I've had some things come up here in the last couple days that have, how do I say it? It's put me in kind of a bind. You know, I talk about it on the show quite a bit of, you know, you just never know what's going to happen. You have to learn to improvise. You have to learn to live life on life's terms. Especially in recovery, and it is not always easy to be able to do that. So the audio and video I had on before I went into this was dealing with some of what I'm talking about, and that's disappointment. Okay. I'm going to be doing one also on failure. because disappointment and failure, in my opinion, go hand in hand. Now, right now, I am dealing with some things that could be detrimental to me when it comes to my mental health, when it comes to my recovery, when it comes to the work that I've put into, everything that I've put into. And it's frustrating when it happens. Okay? But I, in my opinion, have done everything that I can to try to be the best in the situation that I can. It's not working, so you move on. So, coming up at the end of this month, I will be moving out of the sober living home and will be moving into my own place. So soon enough, you will see me in a new place doing my podcast. Yeah, I'm losing this wonderful studio, which is upsetting. I'm going to have to make the best of it. I put a lot of money into this place and this foam and everything. I'm going to try to take out of here as much as I can that I can get off the wall and take with me. But I put a few hundred into this, and, that's my bad. I shouldn't expect that I was going to be here the rest of my life. It's not the way it works. But just at this point, the house owner has decided that he wants to go in a different direction with the house manager position. I just found that out on Tuesday. And he's giving me till May 1st to try to find somewhere else to go, that's fine, and I'll figure it out. But I'm in the middle of doing transition with work. I'm gonna have to pick up hours here and there to do the best I can to try to get this, because while I've been here house managing, I haven't been paying any rent, and so some of it is my own doing. Okay, where I've put myself in this position, but I will get on top of that. I will be victorious. I will move forward, and I will do it sober. Disappointment. Okay, I've got a security deposit. I'm really tight on money right now. I've got a security deposit to put down on this room. I've got last month's rent to pay as well. So it's like stimulus, tax checks. Get here. I need it. Okay, stop delaying it. Any other time I have it. Like the last 2 checks, I've gotten it like instantly within the first day that they were sent out. All of a sudden this time around, it's taking forever. And it's like, come on. When I need it the most, that's when I don't get it, usually. So I'm hoping that by the 1st it'll be there. Otherwise, I'm going to have to see what I got to do with the situation. I'm sure I'll be able to work something out. I'm really good at negotiating. But it's just one of those things where, do I like this change? Do I like the disappointment that I am having to deal with right now? It's real hard to say. In one way, it's going to be nice to be, on my own and be able to come and go as I please and be able to work the hours I want to work. If I want to pick up overnight hours, I can. I don't have to live by this code of sober living anymore. And this is the longest that I've lived, almost a year in sober living. And I'm definitely, now that I've got over a year sober, it's in my mind, I look at it as it's time for me to take that next step and branch out and grow. I've got a sponsor who is really excited because I'm going to be moving out closer to him on the west side. We're going to be doing some work together. He's there to support me, be by my side in anything I'm doing. Out of all the recoveries I've been through, and this is no disrespect to a few others like Bruce, and some of the people that I dealt with in Kentucky that were sponsors. Some of them were very good. But this is the first real connection I've had with a sponsor to where, I really can depend on him. Bert was really good, but toward the end it didn't work very well, what ended up happening. With Isaac, I feel like it's just a different situation, okay? And so I'm in a good place. I'm healthy. I'm doing what I need to do for my recovery. And so it's just making the necessary changes and adjustments to be able to make that change. Am I disappointed? Yes. Am I disappointed that I feel I fell short of what was in the owner's mind, what was needed from a house manager, when really, when I look at it, in my opinion, I feel I did the best I could. Toward the end here, yeah, I was sleeping more during the day because I was working second shift, so I wasn't as available to the guys in the house as I should be, and I admit that. But for the most part, I care about the house. I care about the guys that are in the house. That'll never change. No matter what people say about me, no matter what, if the clients here, the residents here felt that I wasn't there, I'm always going to be there for them. It was just, it gave me 3 months and I did my thing, and it was nice to be able to do that. But it just felt like it was time to move on. And I don't want to be here if I feel like I have to walk on eggshells. That's not what I'm in recovery to do, is to have to walk on eggshells with everything I fucking do. I have goals. I have goals. I have things I want to achieve. Obviously, I want to continue to grow this podcast. I want to continue to grow my career in the mental health field. I've also started thinking, now that I've got over a year, it's starting to become more real to me, and more, it could be a reality of maybe going back and trying to get my LADC license back. I've got over a year now. I know when you first start in recovery and first start getting sober, that 2-year sober thing seems so far out, but I've got less than a year to go, and I'll have it with a year of working for a mental health facility that could be a really good job reference, to give to the Board of Behavioral Health and Therapy for the state to try to get reinstated. So I'm in a good situation. I was talking to a client the other day at work, doing an encounter with him, and he was like, dealing with a lot of issues and seeing a lot of negative things. And it's like one of those things that it's in the AA book. It says that we miss the beauty of the forest for the ugliness of a few trees. And, I can sit here and I can look at how, it didn't go the way I want. I'm going to be leaving a house that is like a museum. It's a Taj Mahal. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to be moving to the west side, which is, just the honest truth. It's the poorer side of town. The houses are not as nice. It's more crime, things of that nature. I'll be honest with you, though, I'm used to that. I lived in South Minneapolis, so I'm used to that kind of environment. I might even feel more comfortable there. But I live in a very nice area here. I really, it's a humbling situation. And it's a humbling start for me to have to go and do. But you have to start somewhere, right? And so that's what I'm doing, is I'm taking that step. So, what do we deal with disappointment? Are we supposed to take it and just cause... I couldn't hardly sleep last night because of the thoughts going through my head of what I need to do. The movements, the things I'm needing to acquire, for my room, the things I need to do to put myself in a position for success. And so I've just been busy trying to get everything together. I'm scaling back a lot of stuff. The podcasting, I've got 3 hours left this month, so I'm going to be doing one today, probably a couple tomorrow to fill those up. And then the new month starts, which will only be 6 hours worth of podcasting, because that's all I can afford right now until I get better set up. But I'm going to do the best I can. with it. If anything, I'll post some stuff on YouTube if I can't get it posted, onto my channels through Buzzsprout. But yeah, got to make do with what you have. That's where I'm at today, I guess. It's like I'm a survivor. If you would talk to my parents, my mom would definitely say that I am a survivor, that I find ways to exist and make things work. And so that's where I'm at. I want to make things work. I want to be able to find a way to take this disappointment and turn it into a positive. And I know that's easier said than done. We want to be able to have things work our way. We like consistency, right? I mean, we like consistency. We don't like change. We don't like upheaval, uprooting something, and that's what I'm having to do. I've been part of Great Lakes Sober Living now for a year, and I feel like I want to continue. It's part of who I've been the last year, and now I'm having to change things and go in a different direction. I'm still going to be an alumni of Great Lakes Sober Living, but it's not going to be the same connection. But at the same time, this is the time for me to move forward. This is the time for me to be able to, I don't know, it's the time for me to start to grow as a person. It's the time for me to start doing some extra work in AA. I haven't been able to dedicate myself to AA as well as I would like, because I've been involved and invested in what I'm doing here. But maybe it's time, that I'm going to be going to more meetings. Maybe it's time to get myself set up, maybe get a sponsee, start working the steps with somebody else, and start giving back and doing some service work that's in step 12. And that's fine with me. If that's the way it's going to work out and that's the way it all pans out, then that's the way it all pans out, and I'm okay with that. Disappointment is not the end. It's the beginning. And I'll talk more about it when I get into my next podcast dealing with failure. How to deal with failure. This one is how to deal with disappointment. But failures, you cannot have success without it. And I'll talk more about that in the next episode and give some examples. You can't go through life without having some disappointment. You can't go through life without some cracked eggs. It's just the way it is. I've had a lot of things that have happily happened to me over this last year, and I've had some things that have been disappointments. But just because of that doesn't mean that I have to completely throw my life away because I've had a few disappointments. That's life. You are going to have disappointments in recovery. You're going to take 2 steps forward, a step back. A couple steps forward, a step back. And you're still moving forward doing that. So what my plans are for the future is, like I said, I'm still working at the mental health facility I'm at. As of right now, I'm still training. I don't know when my schedule will change to where it goes into the normal schedule of Saturday, Sunday, every other week, 8 to 4 p.m., and then I'm going to have other jobs. But I figured it out that if I can fit in a couple more shifts at the place that I'm working at and maybe have a part-time 15, 20 hour, I'll easily be able to get rent paid. I just can't lose hope or have despair over it. There will be things I can do to make this work. I just got to do it. So it's going to take time. It's not going to be something that's going to happen easily. But I know with hard work, it can happen. So what are your disappointments today? I look at everything that's going on with me right now. I've had some disappointments. Packers, my Packers losing to the Buccaneers in the playoffs. Disappointing. I'm trying to think of some other disappointments. The DTA job that I was working for, the other job I had that I gave up, it wasn't working. It was a disappointment that it didn't work. It was a disappointment with my parking booth job that I had, that went sour the way it did. It was a disappointment the way it kind of ended, even though it had to. It was time for me to move on. I was wanting to make a trip to Tampa to visit a friend of mine at the end of July. That's going to have to go to the wayside now, because the money I was going to use to spend on that, I'm going to have to make sure I take care of my housing and make sure I have a place to live. That's disappointing. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have more time in the future to be able to, have more opportunities to go do that, and I'm going to. That's going to happen. I will get better set up and in a better position to be able to do it. That's not the issue. It's just, if everything would have stayed the way it was, status quo, I would have been able to go and really have a good time visiting my friend. But that's just the way it is. No crying over spilled milk. It's done. You gotta just pick yourself up. You gotta do what you gotta do to make things right and move forward. So disappointment, it's not something that you have to give up over. If anything, disappointment, for me anyway, from my experience, what it does for me is it causes me to strive and move forward to gain, more from life, to where I can turn that disappointment into something exciting. Just because I'm disappointed one minute doesn't mean something I've really wanted to happen wouldn't happen another way. I look at it from some of the podcasts I have, being able to interview Aaron Ra and Seth Andrews. That's amazing that I've been able to do that. Being able to do that compared to what's going on right now, I would take that any day and deal with this disappointment right now. That's fine. I'll move forward. I will live. Things will be great. It's just an exciting time in my life. It's time for me to spread my wings and move on. My sponsor, Isaac, said it's time for the next step, the next chapter in the Recovery Atheist. And I'm excited. I'm sure him and I, he wants to be doing some podcasting. He's got his media company and has got an rap album coming out this year and stuff. So I'm sure he's going to, have some opportunities for me to work with him and do some things, do some collaboration, some podcasting, and just start growing. That's what it's all about. Getting stronger, growing, becoming the best version of yourself that you can as a human. And that's what I'm trying to do. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to necessarily be easy, but I know if I'm determined and I stay on that path, that road to that success, that it will come. So that's where I'm at today. I mean, it's been a crazy week. I don't know if you can tell, I'm pretty tired today. Like I said, I didn't sleep last night. I tried to. I couldn't get my brain to shut off. That anxiety, I'm sure you know what that's like. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? How am I going to make this work? And I just felt like I'm not going to sit here and not sleep. I'm going to get up and do something about this. And so that's what I did. I got up, started checking Facebook Marketplace for houses, rooms to rent. I mean, anything I can find, anything I can do, looking for jobs. I've got a couple interviews set up this week that I'm going to be doing. So it's been a long day. I took a little nap. I did some training for work on the computer, but I took a little nap today, but I'm still pretty tired. I'm going to turn in early tonight and try to get some better sleep, but this is just what life is. They talk about it all the time, living life on life's terms. Well, the terms have been set, and it's what am I going to do with that? And I feel that from experience I've had in the past, that I am in the best position that I've been to have something like this happen. But again, please, my government, please, I beg of you, I need my stimulus check and my tax refund. Please. It would make my transition so much easier. Please. Let it come through. See, I'm praying to the government like a Christian prays to God for something to happen. No, I mean, please let me get it. There shouldn't be any reason why I don't get it. I don't have any outstanding tax debts or outstanding creditors that have a garnishment on my wages or anything right now, or court orders, so I should be able to get it just fine. So just cross your fingers on that, because when that comes through, woo! Life will be good. Things will be getting set up, and I'll be able to take care of a lot of stuff. So, well, I hope everyone is okay out there, that you're doing well, that you're staying healthy and safe, wearing your masks. It's a St. Paddy's Day, another St. Paddy's Day for me, sober, and that's a good thing, especially being Irish. This is usually the day that I really tie one on, but I'm able to sit here and say I'm sober today and feel amazing for being able to do it. And I'm just so grateful to AA. I'm so grateful to my sponsor, Isaac. So grateful to Great Lakes Sober Living for giving me the opportunity that I've been given, and the people that are supporting me and backing me and giving me strength to be able to get through a lot of the stuff that I'm getting. And then, of course, finish it off, I want to thank you, thank all of you who listen to me and subscribe and partake in my podcasts and just enjoy the content that I bring. There's going to be more. This is just the beginning. This is going to blow up more and more guests, especially now that we're getting more, of the Corona thing. It's opening up more and more now. The different things in society, in the community that you can go out and do. So I'm going to be having more and more interviews as time goes on. Be very excited about that. Remember, you can get a hold of me on the Recovery Atheist at gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook under Del Bacon. I have the Recovery Atheist group page on there as well. You can find me on YouTube, the Recovery Atheist YouTube channel, tons of videos. And take me on the go where you're on the go, or just cleaning the house, or whatever you're doing at work. I'm on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music. You can go, hey, Alexa, play the Recovery Atheist podcast, and she will do that for you. So, just want to say I love everybody out there. Stay safe, and hopefully spring is showing up where you're at, so enjoy it. Peace out.
So it didn't work. It all fell apart. Didn't turn out the way you wanted to? Get ready, because disappointment's creeping in. So here, I'm going to train you on how to deal and cope with this disappointment so it does not ruin your day tomorrow. Okay, it didn't work out, did it? You know how this happens, and then didn't turn out the way you wanted to. Your thoughts go crazy and those emotions come up, and now you find yourself just diving into this weird pool of disappointment. Now, it's totally cool to be disappointed just for a while, but what happens is when disappointment starts to grow. Because when disappointment starts to grow, you are going to start having other problems. So how do you deal with disappointment? How do you get through this so it doesn't consume you for days and days and weeks? Because When disappointment gets too big, it's actually going to create more experiences to be disappointed about. It's a dangerous emotion when it's not managed very well. So my intention right now is to train you on how to work through this disappointment so it does not facilitate and create additional experiences that could keep you down. Because everybody experiences disappointment. I experience disappointment, you do. But how do we process it? Over the last 10 years of my life, if I had not learned how to process disappointment, it would have just smothered me. If you're an entrepreneur or a goal setter, or even a dad or a husband, you have experienced, so much disappointment. But if you can process it quickly, you can be right back up and get going. If you're somebody who's kind of dragging because it's really heavy on you, this is perfect for you. Now, another reason to pay attention to what I'm going to show you here is you're going to meet people who are stuck in disappointment. Like they literally, it's just like their feet are just stuck knee deep in the cesspool of disappointment and they can't get out. So if this isn't for you, watch it, because you're going to be talking to somebody soon that's going to be struggling with this, and you can help them. So get educated in this and help somebody out because it's not a good day when we're just stuck in disappointment. Okay, so what do you do first? Whenever you have a disappointing moment, instead of looking at everything that didn't work, which can just literally be endless, what you do is you turn the thinking to go literally, what did you learn from this? And you might be a little sarcastic at the beginning, where you say things like, oh, I'll tell you what I learned. I'm never doing that again. At first it's a little sarcastic that's going to come out of you, but that's a good start. And even if you're kind of just throwing statements around like, I learned never to call that person again, or I learned never to do that, I learned to never have goals, let all that sarcastic kind of heat come out of you, because you're still pointing yourself in a good direction. If you can start to talk this way, even if it's heated and not all really positive, you're turning your mind to look for what you've learned. That's when you turn disappointment into an experience that you're gonna gain from. And that's what it's all about. You're gonna have the emotion, but we gotta turn the head in the thinking into a better direction. So you start talking about what did you learn, and the next one is what did you gain? And you probably are gonna think, nothing. This totally fell apart, I gained nothing. But still keep asking yourself the question, what did you gain from this? Because there is something there. Edison, in his inventions, if he didn't look for what he gained, even if it was tiny bits of information, if he didn't look for what he gained, he would not have kept going. These are two reasons that if we can turn our head thinking this way, we can be the inventors. We can invent a life we've always wanted to live. So what did you learn? What did you gain? Next, you're going to ask yourself, what will you do next time? And while you're in the depth of disappointment is when you're literally the smartest about this. If you wait till you come up out of disappointment to figure out what you're going to do next time, you will have forgot all the sensitive things that just went wrong. When I'm in my disappointment slump, man, I'm writing in my journal like crazy of the things I'm going to do different next time. Because it's so apparent, you're so aware, you're so in tune to the mistake, you're actually becoming really smart. Because people not only want to know what to do in life, they also want to know what not to do. So you as a person, get smart right now. If you're in a place of learning what not to do, it's making you so smart for what to do next time. So start writing it down, make a list. Okay, next, what worked and what didn't work. What worked, what didn't work. And what I do is I draw a line right down the middle of the paper. Right down the middle of the paper, and I start making a list of what didn't work and what did work. And I sit there and bounce back and forth because your ideas and your thoughts during disappointment are just scrambled. But if you can begin to organize your thoughts, you start to come up and out of disappointment. Because now you're taking what worked and what didn't work, and instead of they all going ping pong back and forth in your head, you're creating two lists. Organize your thoughts on paper like this. It'll help you gain some balance and some self-control. Next, 5 lessons learned. You know, up here it's like, what did you learn? But I like to take it and go, okay, I'm gonna narrow this down to 5 lessons learned. If I can pull 5 super clear lessons learned from every disappointing situation that I've had, boy, I'm getting really smart along the way. So up here, these are the things that you want to take a look at of being able to change your thinking, but this is like the work. Make your list of what worked, what didn't work, and narrow it down to 5 lessons learned. Now, I have a file on my computer that I keep all my lessons learned on. Number 3, express yourself. If you're disappointed, say you're disappointed. If you're super disappointed, you may need to go for a walk and rant. Completely just complain and moan and groan and throw everybody under the bus during that conversation. But just be sure nobody's listening. Nobody's listening. You're not expressing yourself to trash on people right in front of you, but you do need to go for a walk and express everything that went wrong and who's driving you crazy and who didn't do their part and who dropped the ball, but express yourself. If you leave all that expression stuck in your chest, someday it's going to come out at the wrong time on the wrong person. And as long as you have that all gummed up inside you right here and you don't express it, what happens is you get to carry disappointment into tomorrow and into the next day. And because you're still holding on to it, it's going to stick with you. So number 3, and it is a have to, a must, to express yourself, but not to the people yet. You need to burn off some steam before you call them. And you know where people make their mistake? Is when they're really struggling and they're really disappointed about something, they get right on the phone and they just blast those people. And then what happens is you got yourself a mess. Why? Why do you need to unload all your emotions on somebody else? Are you just trying to destroy them? You're trying to like stab them in the chest with those emotions? You're just going to hurt them. What happened was some miscommunication. But you go burn off all your steam, because some of that steam comes from old stinky experiences from years ago. It's not just this current situation, it's a bunch of old stuff all flying out at the same time. So don't go straight to the person and unload on them. Go for a walk, vent, talk out loud, rant out loud, clear it off your chest, get it off your shoulders, then go have the conversation with the person or the people or review the situation. But don't forget number 3. This is how I move and manage through disappointment. I'm not going to get stuck by it, and neither are you. No longer are you going to get stuck by disappointment. You can process it better now. You know what to do. But do something about it today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't put it off till tomorrow. Handle it today. You'll sleep better tonight. You'll wake up with a better, fresh view about tomorrow. And this is perfect timing for you to click and watch this video today. Perfect timing. Take action. It's going to work for you. Hey, and also subscribe. You know this just helps you out, and you don't want to miss the other real life topics I'm sending to you, because I'm a lifestyle mentor, and I'm going to train you on what to pay attention to and what to adjust so you can continue to build the lifestyle you want. So subscribe, and I'll help you every step of the way.
Thank you for listening to the Recovery Atheist podcast. It's now up to you. What will you do with what you've heard? How will you use it? I challenge you not to stay silent. Be heard. Be real. Be different.